What's up, it's your boy Hobo Drobo, back with some more Kingdom Rush battles, and today we're going to be taking a quick look at the update, as well as the new Summon Rift card, the Twilight Longbows. Now this is just going to be a quick initial thoughts on the update, going over the patch notes first. First of all, of course, we have the new Summon Rift card, the Twilight Longbows. We have some bug fixes in here. The ones that stand out really are the Ingvar one with his bear form, as well as the Dark Priest spawning less than they should have. It did kind of feel like the Dark Priest booster wasn't as good as it should have been, so that may help it out. For gameplay, we're getting the new boss, the Juggernaut. Now, I haven't seen any gameplay of it yet, so I'm not exactly sure what to expect, but I hope he has some unique mechanics. For balance, we have the Magma Shard and the Magma Elemental. Duration of the rock phase being increased to 12 seconds. This is huge, and I think it was a major problem with the original Forsaken Valley balance. Having like multiple cards and your hero attacking these Magma Shards and the Elementals and not taking them out was kind of crazy, so that's nice. Rocket Riders having health reduced by 25%, that's huge. Their rush skill now only triggers when they are 5 tiles away from the exit instead of 3. To me, this isn't that big of a deal, and I think that if anything, they really shouldn't trigger until almost halfway through the map. But we'll see if this makes a difference, and I have heard it's bugged, so I don't even know if it works correctly. But they're also now polymorphable, and while that is very nice because I do use polymorph for my deck, I don't think that that should be the answer for the Rocket Riders. I think the health being reduced is the main thing here. Hopefully it makes it so that Archmage isn't a must pick for those maps. Shadow Archer range damage reduced by 30%. I think this is fine. They did do a lot of damage, but I did also kind of like how they were a big threat to dragons. We'll just have to see how this acts actually in the game. And then creep and bot card scaling has been toned down starting from Forsaken Valley. This is huge, so for the most part we should see all of the creeps in this arena be a little bit easier, hopefully making it so that some of the other cards are valuable and we don't have to pick Archmage to actually push every single time. Alright, now let's talk about the Twilight Longbows, and I'm very excited for this tower, and they must be cooking with their Alliance stuff because wow, we've just been getting a string of Alliance cards over and over again, but hey, I'm not complaining. So let's start with their lore. A merciless archer driven by cruelty and obsession, hunting without remorse. Every foe slain under their arrow fuels power, strengthening their striles and turning death into their greatest weapon. This is going to be the first legendary ranged tower, and I'm very excited for it. Its first passive, enemy focus. This allows it to change its damage focus from the closest enemy to the enemy that has the most HP. This is very similar to Alliance. I don't see myself using this too much, but it's definitely a nice option. Now my favorite skill, the Support Blade, summons 2 harassers to help protect the tower. This is crazy. Having 4.5k health at level 9 is absolutely insane with 25% armor, basically like having 2 more barbarians on the ground. They don't attack air, but they're so effective on the ground that it doesn't really matter. Silent Hunt fires an arrow warped in dark magic that disrupts mana flow and confuses the target, preventing it from using abilities for a few seconds. And this targets, for example, heroes on the other side. I believe I heard the devs say that they target the heroes first, but they'll also target other enemies, such as barracks like paladins, barbarians, rocket gunners. And then its last passive, Thrill of the Hunt. Each kill made by this tower increases its next attack damage for a few seconds, up to 3 times, with a duration of 12 seconds. So I believe the way this works and how it was described is that when you get a kill, it goes up a little bit, and then I believe it goes up to a 40% buff max. And so if you get 3 kills within that 12-second duration, it's going to keep stacking until 40%. So you get a kill, that 12 seconds restarts. If you get a kill within the next 12 seconds, you're getting another buff. And then if you get another kill in the next 12 seconds, you're getting another buff up to that 40%. And it stays at 40% from level 1 to level 3. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong on how that damage stacks. It's just not actually mentioned in the description. Its 2 main passives are 3% decrease in enemy damage as Invader Weakness, and then 5% increase in hero's range damage as Heroic Precision. Now what really stood out to me is the fact that it spawns 2 Support Blades with its skill. That was really surprising to me. When we were going over possibilities for towers in our Discord a while ago, when we mentioned Twilight Longbows, I thought for sure that this card would only have 1 support barrack, because I just figured having 2 on top of being an archer range tower would be crazy. But here we are, and even though it does have those 2 barracks, you do have to balance it correctly as the match goes on. I'm always very interested in what legendary towers are going to do, because they usually have some kind of unique mechanic that requires some kind of skill or some kind of thinking, compared to some common towers where you can just set them and forget them. In this case, you may think the skill comes from using its target priority system, but for me it's actually how you use the barracks. So for example, you may think that you can get away without using barbarians or paladins, but you really can't. you're still going to need your normal barracks for those early rounds, especially if you have to deal with something like ambushers, and then later on you can transition into using the support blades, and then you can sell the barbarians if you need to, but like you see here, I felt like I didn't need to sell them, and I actually used them to help increase the damage on this boss, stalling him by even more. Now, it didn't come down to actually killing the boss in this game, but I feel like that's what it's going to come down to in a lot of these later matches. I just don't have enough experience yet. I do think barbarians are still the meta, but you can probably get away with using paladins a lot more now, especially if you're using Magnus. That's already been proven effective in custom matches. Overall, I think this tower is pretty good, but it's not great or overpowered, and I do like where that stands right now. I think I definitely need to get more experience with it, but off the bat I know that it's better than Blazing Gem for my personal playstyle, so for that reason alone I was willing to invest a lot more scrolls into it to get it to level 9, and I was able to get one copy from Non-Pity, my first legendary technically from Non-Pity or from a chest, which is kind of crazy considering how much I've played and how many scrolls I've spent, not to mention how much money I've spent. Like, holy, it's actually crazy that I haven't gotten a natural legendary yet, but you know, we're getting there. I think this spell lineup is goated no matter what deck you're using. Right now, Polymorph is just so good, and having that extra penetration for the longbows, along with having Sorcerer in this deck, does create some nice synergies, and I'm able to keep up with a lot of the tough troops in some of these later arenas. And even though we didn't get any balance changes for actual cards, it does feel like the Sorcerer is going to be a lot better this season, and it could actually be the Sorcerer's best season. I'm really crossing my fingers with that one, and I do think that eventually people will figure out a way to get Archmage to work really well with the longbows, but right now, I don't think it's going to be that difficult, and I was actually using Raylan a lot at the end of last season for the last 2 weeks, and I was able to pull out some sneaky wins against some Archmage players. I'll show those clips at the end of this video. And while I still want to give Raylan her own video because she definitely deserves it, I really like playing with her, and it was honestly the only way I was having fun last season, even if it meant being hard stuck at 1.5k trophies for 2 weeks straight. I still think that not buffing a lot of the rare heroes, or even a rare tower like the Hunter Outpost, was a missed opportunity in my opinion. There's so many cool cards that could create so many synergies, and I feel like it wouldn't take away from the cards that are already good. I really don't know what they're thinking there. For example, when the devs teased that the Twilight Longbows were probably coming, I was so excited to use Vesper. I tried using him today, and it just didn't even compare to using Magnus, unfortunately. Magnus is just a beast compared to Vesper, and it's going to be buff Martial Flourish until the day I die. At this point, my expectations for balance changes aren't too high. I'm just going to be playing the game I want to play it. I'm probably going to be doing videos on just yapping about life. I'm not going to be taking it too seriously, but I do want to have the game be at least somewhat enjoyable. For example, last season I was having fun with Raylan, but I didn't feel like I could actually justify making a video on it, even though last night I was so tempted to even just record at like 1 a.m. and get it up just because I was really excited to get back in the swing of things. On the bright side, I did finally upgrade my phone from the iPhone 11 to the iPhone 17. It only took 8 years for me to do it, but I really like running my phone into the ground until I literally cannot use it anymore. I did that last time with the iPhone 6 going from the iPhone 11, so, you know, like I said in my post earlier, Apple peaked at the iPhone 6, but low-key it actually peaked at the 11. I don't see a major increase from the 11 to the 17, but it's definitely nice having those few features that really make it stand out, and also my device just isn't laggy anymore. That being said, I can tell that the game is definitely not fully optimized yet, and it's definitely not my device making the game lag, but there's also some bugs going around, so don't freak out if there's some crazy bugs. I know that the devs are working on it, and they're doing their best to get things fixed as soon as possible. But for now, if you're looking for a deck, I'm basically just using Glacial Druid, Twilight Longbows, Barbarians, and, what was I using? Oh yeah, Sorcerer. I do think the Holy Sanctuary has some sneaky synergy with this new tower, so I'm definitely going to be trying that out as well. These are the clips that I had from last season, taking out some Archmage players using Raylan, but even then I was using some Glacial Druid cheese. I mean, last season it was literally just put Glacial Druids and Teslas all over the map, have Barbarians in the back, and then have Raylan do your main primary damage. And the one thing I'll say about Raylan right now that I think really stands out is her stun ability. Because of that extra stun, I feel like I can safely take 2 damage spells compared to when I use some of the other heroes. So let me know what you guys think. I'll be coming back to you guys shortly, but until then, good luck in your next battles, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.